fascination with weightlifting started with this man, Vasily Alexeyev, who in 1970 in Columbus, Ohio, became the first man in the world to lift over 500 pounds. Soviet lifters continued to dominate the super heavyweight class as Anatoly Pisarenko became the new weightlifting superstar, shattering Alexeyev's records. Other Soviet lifters have now come onto the scene, and the weights keep going up. Now over 80 pounds, more than Alexeyev's historic lift. However, Soviet dominance is now challenged by others, notably Krastev of Bulgaria. The battle of the super heavyweights continues today at the World Weightlifting Championships in Stockholm, Sweden. The capital of the Royal Kingdom of Sweden is Stockholm. It is frequently referred to as the Venice of the North and the city which floats on water. In fact, the city is built on numerous islands, underlined by its many bays. The historical tradition of 7 centuries has lent a distinct touch to Stockholm, highlighted by this building, the Royal Palace. Hello, everybody. I'm Bob Beatty. We're in the charming industrial suburb of Stockholm called Södertälje. We're here for the World Weightlifting Championships. Competition has already been completed in 9 weight classes, and coming up, the super heavyweights. Should be very exciting. Only 2 world records, though, have been broken here, far below the usual number. And one of the reasons might be that they've increased steroid control, doping control here at the World Championships this year. As a matter of fact, over 50% of the athletes have been tested at random, and has really had, I think, quite a profound effect. Let's bring in our weightlifting expert, Bruce Wilhelm. Bruce, how about the fact that there haven't been any world records, or not very many of them anyway?
I think that it's probably due to 2 things, Bob. I think it was due to the Krastev scandal of the '83, where the drug abuse happened and it really hit the public eye. And I think also with the effect of the 2 Russians being caught in Toronto in 1984 December, I think it's had a tremendous impact, because there has been testing in the past. Let's not forget that.
Right.
But the testing is serious now, and they're using state-of-the-art technique, and there's no question about it that it's affecting the lifting competition.
Well, talking to the weightlifting people, they say they really want to clean up the image of their sport and set a good example for younger people. I think that's good.
Absolutely, and I think the best thing that's going to come out of it is that I do believe that within a year to 2 years, we will see as many world records broken as we've seen in the past, due to better nutrition, better training techniques. These are all positive aspects of the sport. The Soviets seem to have a never-ending supply of super heavyweight replacements, Bob, and here we're looking at Alexander Gunyashev of the Soviet Union, as well as Leonid Taranenko, the 1980 Olympic champion in the 242-pound class. But the real challenger appears to be Antonio Krastev from Bulgaria. Here we see warming up in the snatch. And getting ready to come out right now, Taranenko of the Soviet Union, who weighed in today at 277 pounds. He'll be attempting 407 3/4 pounds in the snatch lift, the snatch being one continual movement overhead. 2 different types of lifts in weightlifting, the snatch and the clean and jerk, which is a 2-part lift, 3 attempts in each. Best lift of the snatch combined with the best lift of the clean and jerk for the overall total. One of the interesting things about Taranenko was a low style, Bob. Let's watch for it. There it is. Weight's well overhead. And he has 407 3/4 pounds overhead and takes the lead here in the snatch lift. Bruce, you mentioned that low style he has. He really does almost bottom out. He's really very unique in that particular case, because he gets a tremendous pull, but his flexibility in the ankles and hips is unbelievable. Look how low his bottom is in comparison to his feet. It almost touches the platform. This is tremendous flexibility show, Bob. And Taranenko has really kind of given his confidence a boost, making that first of 3 attempts in the snatch. Here walking backstage. And here we have Alexander Gunyashev of the Soviet Union. He hasn't even started lifting yet. He's the world record holder in the snatch lift, and shows the superiority of these Soviet lifters. Lift continues. Leonid Taranenko will be coming up now for his 3rd attempt in the snatch, attempting 418 3/4 pounds. Taranenko has had some problems with injuries. He was in an automobile accident in 1982. That put him out for a year and a half, but Bruce, he's come on strong again. He really has, and this tremendous gain in weight is somewhat unusual, but I guess it's the advancing age. Look, nice pull. Couldn't quite get it up there. Good quickness getting under the bar. What happened? Very good. The actual, we'll take a look at the replay, but I think the real problem here was the fact that he hits himself a little bit hard in the stomach, and he swings the bar out front and it rolls right behind him. When you hit the bar, it stops the actual movement of the bar in a vertical position, and you lose it. And Taranenko will have to settle for his first lift of 407 3/4 pounds as Krastev of Bulgaria is ready now to lift. Antonio Krastev, first attempt in the snatch, 424 1/4 pounds.
And Bruce, he looks a lot heavier than he has.
He certainly gained some weight over the European Championships, about 17, 18 pounds. He's 330 plus.
332 pounds he weighed in at today.
But for a man of his size, Bob, he moves with tremendous speed. He's got great flexibility, tremendous explosive. In fact, he's one of the first men to snatch 440 3/4 pounds. Kind of a magical mark, like a 4-minute mile.
Let's talk a little bit about that snatch lift, the quickness and agility that's needed. A lot of flexibility.
Absolutely. It's one quick motion from the floor to over your head, splitting or squatting. Most lifters today squat. Tremendous bottom position flexibility is needed. Watch the speed of the lift. This man is exceptionally fast for a large man.
Tremendous concentration here.
Very fast. Look how he caught it right in the slot. A beautiful lift.
And Antonio Krastev has it overhead. All right, so he takes the lead for the moment.
Nice pull. He pulls out of a deep set position, swings the bar and hits his stomach, jumps back, readjusts and catches the weight. He had to jump back to catch the weight because he hit his stomach and threw the bar out in front. But still a well-executed lift.
And he's happy with his first lift in the snatch, 424 1/4 pounds. And with Krastev in first place, coming up, Gunyashev of the Soviet Union, first attempt, 429 3/4 pounds. Very good athlete. Won the European Championship. Started actually as a 220-pounder. It moved up just in the super heavyweight, like a lot of the Soviet lifters these days.
Well, absolutely, and especially the new breed that we've seen the last several years with the advent of Pisarenko and Karlovich. They all were in the 110-kilo class with the 242, and they've moved up. But this man's a lot bigger than he looks. About 6 foot 2 inches tall. Plus, he is the current world record holder.
Right. That world record, 465 pounds.
Bob, this is his first world championship, too, so there could be additional pressure on him.
That buzzer indicates that there's 1 minute to complete the lift.
Nice lift.
Overhead, just to settle down and wait the okay from the referee, which he has. 3 white lights. It's a good lift, and so now Gunyashev takes the lead.
Pulls from a deep position. He's got his hands in a little narrower than most supers. Pulls it very easily, catches it up. He has to walk forward with it, which indicates that the weight was a little bit out front at the top. Missed the thigh brush, but still a nice lift. Tremendous quickness on the pull there. And here we have our leader, Gunyashev, the world record holder from the Soviet Union. Krastev of Bulgaria coming out now to attempt his second lift in the snatch competition. Remember, the best attempt here will count towards his total to be combined with the best attempt of the clean and jerk. He'll be attempting 446 1/4 pounds. Well, he really needs to make this particular lift too, Bob, to put the heat on the Russian.
Okay, he was left out of some competitions the end of last year because the coach felt that he wasn't working hard enough, but they feel that he's in very good form, and that was just the impetus that he needed to come into this one in good shape, and I guess that he feels very confident about this.
Well, recently at the Europeans, he just missed setting a world record, so supposedly he should be in good form. We'll see in a minute here. Let's watch the speed with which he moves under the bar. That's the impressive thing about this big man. Nice pull, a beautiful lift. 446 1/4 for Antonio Krastev, and he really puts the pressure on Gunyashev of the Soviet Union. This is getting to be quite a competition. Oh, it's hot, and it's really fantastic. A new Bulgarian record. He pulls out of the deep set position, brushes the thighs. Look how he hits his stomach, jumps back. He catches the weight very well on the slot. A beautifully done lift. Look how easily he recovers. Krastev takes the lead, and the pressure is on the Soviet lifters even more. Coming out now for his third lift in the snatch, 446 1/4 pounds. He's already made 429 3/4 pounds, but that was in his first attempt. He missed in his second attempt. Doesn't really put him in a good position here, Bob, and he certainly doesn't have the look of confidence that he should at being a world record holder. Okay, Bruce, one thing that's kind of interesting with Gunyashev, he has more of an athletic build, a little better physique, I think, and looks like he's in better shape than Krastev, who is a big opponent from Bulgaria. Well, he is nearly 6'3" and 280 pounds. Meanwhile, the leader, Krastev, in the warm-up room with 1 attempt remaining, warming up.
that physique, he looks like he's fat.
Well, yeah, he does carry a little bit of extra tissue on him, but he moves exceptionally fast. So in this particular lift, let's watch and see the difference, the contrast in styles between Krastev and Gunyashev. Gunyashev will move and kind of place the weight over his head, whereas Krastev was very explosive and rams it over his head.
Gunyashev weighed in today at 287 pounds.
Notice the difference in the hand placement. He places his hands a little bit narrower than Krastev, and he has even longer arms. Good pull.
Oh, and he couldn't get up. He had the weight overhead, but he couldn't get it up.
It's a tough break. He's in a bottom position. He didn't snap his wrist over. He didn't turn it over. He wasn't able to hold the weight. Here we see him pulling off the floor. Tremendous acceleration. Moves under the bar well. You can see there that he turns his wrist over a little bit, but it's like he's a little bit unsure going under the weight. Loses the weight forward.
And that miss allows Krastev to win the snatch competition. It looks like Gunyashev might be having some problems with his elbow right there. But Krastev still has one more attempt to go here in the snatch.
It's 451 3/4 pounds for a third attempt, Bob. Is certainly not a world record lift, but it'll increase his lead in the snatch attempt here.
Okay, let's keep in mind that it's the best attempt of the snatch combined with the best attempt of the clean and jerk to determine the overall winner.
By virtue of the fact that Gunyashev is a far superior clean and jerker than Krastev, it certainly is necessary for Krastev here to pick up this extra poundage.
Krastev now will be attempting 451 3/4 pounds. He's already made 446 1/4 pounds. Buzzer indicates 1 minute to make the lift.
Let's watch his style here, Bob, especially when we see how he fixes his grip. He takes a collar-to-collar inside grip. Might also add that he pulls out of a deep set position. I think that it sometimes fatigues the lifter a little bit, but in this particular case, it seems to work well.
Waiting a long time over the bar.
It certainly is. It's a long time in the deep set position. He needs to get it moving here pretty quick. Pull. Nearly, it's up.
And so Krastev misses that final attempt in the snatch, but still wins the snatch competition with a lift of 446 1/4 pounds.
Good pull. Look at the high pull, but he hits the stomach and deflects the bar. You can see it swings out, goes right back behind him. He can't hold it in that deep bottom position.
And even though he misses that third attempt, Krastev wins the snatch competition, followed by the two lifters from the Soviet Union, Gunyashev and Taranenko. We'll be back in Sweden for the clean and jerk competition. Back in Sweden at the small industrial town of Södertälje, just outside of Stockholm. This is a town with a lot of pride. Many of the factory workers are here for the competition, take a lot of pride in their work. Also a beautiful small community with many parks and beautiful trees. Hello everybody, Bob Beatty with Bruce Wilhelm. Coming up next is the clean and jerk competition, super heavyweights with this World Weightlifting Championships. We have quite a competition that's really developed here. First of all, Krastev of Bulgaria has surprised the two lifters from the Soviet Union, Gunyashev and Taranenko. Bruce, what about this competition in the clean and jerk?
It's really heating up, and the fact of the matter is that Gunyashev's best clean and jerk is 562. Krastev's done a 551 1/2, and with the lead in the snatch, there's no telling what'll happen. I think Taranenko's pretty much out of the picture with the best of around 534 1/2, however.
So Gunyashev, though, has his work cut out if he's going to beat Krastev in this competition.
I would say he definitely does.
Okay, Bruce, before we get to the battle of the super heavyweights earlier in the competition, in lighter weight classes, we had two world records set. Let's take a look at those. First of all, right here we have Naum Shalamanov of Bulgaria in the 132-pound class.
Formerly known as Naim Suleymanoglu, Bob, it might be interesting to note that the Bulgarian government decided to Bulgarianize names, and as Suleymanov was of Turkish descent, his name was changed to Shalamanov.
Well, Bruce, no matter what names he's using right now, he's still considered the best weightlifter in the world, pound for pound, and he's only 4 foot 8 inches tall.
This was the 315 1/4 pound snatch he made. It might also be of interest to note that the bar barely clears the top of his head. Look how close it is there.
Okay, so there was Shalamanov in the first world record set here in the championships. The second one set by his countryman, Alexander Varbanov, in the clean and jerk in the 165-pound class. Here he is now. That record was 466 1/4 pounds.
Good position over the bar. He actually made a tremendous attempt here, Bob, although I might add that he took a little bit longer than I thought was necessary to begin the lift. Here we see him using intense concentration, getting ready to begin his pull. The easiest part of the lift for him is the clean. And in this competition, he cleaned his 466 1/4 very easily. Notice how easily he stands up with a weight. A big jerk. The jerk was easy, and he steps forward to recover.
And he got it overhead for a new world record. 2 records for Bulgaria. Shalamanov and Varbanov. And now to our competition with the super heavyweights. It's Alexander Gunyashev out to make his second attempt in the clean and jerk. He'll be attempting 496 pounds. He missed in his first attempt. Okay, he trailed Antonio Krastev of Bulgaria after the snatch competition by 16.5 pounds. So he's got to make that up if he's going to win the overall.
So we found out earlier, Bob, that after the snatch competition was over, that he had injured his elbow. He overextended it somewhat, and it caused some internal bleeding, and it was drained. It really does seem somewhat incredulous to me that he will come out and compete under these circumstances. Here we see his left elbow. We see the blood going down it. Let's take a look at his clean. Nice rack. Stands up easily.
If he can get it overhead, he'll move into the lead now for both the clean and jerk and the overall. And he's got it. Even though he's having problems with his elbow, manages to get 496 pounds overhead.
Good pull. Tremendous pull. Look how well he racks the weight. The bar goes in right across his chest. You never know that he really has an injured elbow here, although I'm sure they've used some ethyl chloride to freeze it a little. A nice drive. Moves under the weight well. They're really taking a chance here, however.
But boy, Bruce, any way you look at it, that was really a gutsy performance by Gunyashev. Here he's being attended to by former Soviet weightlifting great David Riegert, and you have to wonder if Gunyashev is going to be able to continue.
In sports this past year has been the revelations of tremendous drug abuse. Weightlifting has not been without its share of problems. Nearly every year since 1976, athletes have been disqualified for the use of anabolic steroids. This year, however, the International Weightlifting Federation has taken drastic steps. State-of-the-art technique of drug testing is now being used and enforced. Let's take a look.
Doping control at international competitions is performed at a sealed area. The key to the doping area is maintained by the doctor on duty or the president of the medical commission. Once the athlete is selected, he is escorted by the doctor on duty into the sealed area.
No, you can't come with me because we have killed.
The athlete is then brought into the doping area, and the athlete or the athlete's representative is then asked whether the athlete has taken any medications recently. The appropriate information is then obtained. The athlete is then asked to select a specially coded bottle with a number that will be associated with his name. The number is only known by the president of the medical committee. The number is then sent to the laboratory as an unknown sample. The sample is then collected under the witness of the medical commission, either by a doctor or the president of the medical committee. The sample is then brought in by the athlete or the coach and is then divided into 2 equal samples into the pre-selected vials. Once the sample is equally divided, it is then sealed by the president of the medical committee. This procedure is witnessed both by the doctors on duty and the athlete and his coach. The samples are then taken and placed in sealing wax, and a special seal from the International Weightlifting Federation is then placed on top of the sealing wax. This guarantees that the top and the bottle have not been violated or manipulated in any way. This procedure is also witnessed by both the athlete and his representative. The president of the medical committee, who is the only person to have the key to the final sealed container, he opens the refrigerator where the samples are stored, places them in for final keeping. Once the samples have been stored in the sealed refrigerated container, within 24 hours they're forwarded to the lab. The process of analysis is then completed over the course of the next several weeks, and the results are forwarded to the president of the medical commission.
An anabolic steroid is a powerful chemical compound of male hormones. It can be taken by tablet or by injection. It is prescribed by a doctor. The reason so many athletes take it is to increase performance. Specifically in weightlifting, it increases the body strength or amount of weight lifted. It increases the ability to recover from heavy weight workouts. However, there are certain side effects, among them being hardening the arteries, increased blood pressure, increased cholesterol, glaucoma, liver deterioration, and sterility, to name a few.
Bruce, this whole issue of steroids is certainly a controversial one right now, and definitely not to be taken lightly. And Krastev for his third and final attempt in the clean and jerk. If he can make this, he will really put a lot of pressure on the Soviet lifter, Gunyashev, 518 pounds. 24-year-old. Started very young as a teenager. The Bulgarians have many young lifters. Some people feel that they maybe burn out a little bit early because they push them so hard when they're young.
It's true, but he's also a junior world champion at a young age. This is a good springboard for him to get into the senior lifting. He's been competing the last 4 or 5 years in world championships. He's done well every year. His big problem is the clean in this particular portion of the lift. He's plenty strong in the jerk. But if he doesn't rack it,
getting it up off the floor.
Getting it off the floor onto his shoulders where he can stand up with a weight. He's got plenty of strength. One of the problems is his arms are so big, and that stomach is pretty big. He's having a hard time getting the weight around it. It's stopping when it hits his stomach.
You know, Bruce, his build reminds me a lot of the great Alexander.
Well, that's somewhat true, but you know, there are good points and bad points about having a large stomach. One of the bad points is that as you pull, the bar is impeded by the stomach. So it throws the bar out, and throws you off balance. There's a lot of problems you can have from it. But one of the good points, and probably the only point really, is it gives you a tremendous position of solidarity in the bottom position. Right here as we're seeing, and you're able to use it as a spring to stand up.
He can only get it overhead now.
Well, looks good, Bob.
518 pounds. Was out of competition last year because the Bulgarians didn't think he was trying hard enough.
Well, he sure built a fire in him somewhere, Bob. Let's look at him here. He has a nice pull. Look how he uses that big abdomen to his advantage. The stomach forces itself against the thighs, gives him a feeling of solidarity. He's able to stand up and get set for the jerk. You see him drop his hands a little. He's readjusting for the jerk, rams it over his head, recovers, waits for the down signal. The weight's good. Tremendous display of athletic ability.
And that lift will, in all probability, give him the overall title, and at least for the moment, puts him in first place for the clean and jerk. Back for the World Weightlifting Championships, and the excitement is starting to grow inside the hall here as we get ready for the final lifts. Coming out now to lift, Alexander Gunyashev, third attempt at the clean and jerk, 523.5 pounds. If he makes this, it will put him in first place for the moment in the clean and jerk, but he is not lifting enough weight to overtake Krastev for the overall, that being the best attempt in the snatch and the clean and jerk.
That's really somewhat of an unusual move by the Soviet team, Bob, because normally they would go for the win, but I think probably in this case you're trying to protect his elbow for future competition since he did injure it earlier. Nice, powerful pull, stands up without much problem here. Big jerk.
If he could just settle down. It looks like he has it. Gunyashev, 523.5 pounds, takes over the lead in the clean and jerk.
Nice pull off the floor, shoulders well over the bar, moves well under. In fact, he overpulled it. You notice how it crashed down on him? It almost nailed him in the bottom. He comes up, waits for the bar to stop, slight dip at the knees, and he'll ram the weight over his head, stepping underneath of it. Threw the elbows up, moved under. Nice deep split.
Not bad for a man with a bad elbow. And now one of the few lifters with a chance to win the clean and jerk, Naim Suleymanoglu of East Germany, his third attempt, 523.5 pounds also. However, he weighs 281 pounds. Gunyashev weighs 287 pounds. If there's a tie, and if he makes this lift, there would be a tie for weight. It then goes to body weight to see who would be the winner. Suleymanoglu, weighing less, would go into first place.
All he has to do is get set for the jerk. This is usually a difficult portion of the lift for him, Bob. Let's see if he can make it. Big drive. He's under it. A little bit of elbow unlocking there on the right elbow. Let's see if the referees call it.
Naim Suleymanoglu of East Germany.
If he dropped it from much higher, he could get disqualified for that.
But it's a good lift, and the facts of life are that he is now in first place in the clean and jerk.
Nice pull off the floor. He really squeezed it, got a good extension. He moves well under the weight. Notice how he racks it. His elbows are a little bit up. He rebounds out of the bottom position, throws the weight up. The reason he throws it up here is to readjust, to get his hands set, get his elbows down so he can jerk off of a good, strong, solid chest. It's called the platform. He jerks the weight, a nice deep split, controls the weight, sinks into the split. A well-executed maneuver by Sino Salzuedo, 523.5 pounds.
And both Gunyashev and Salzwedel have lifted 523.5 pounds, and now this man, Manfred Nerlinger, is going to also be attempting 523.5 pounds. Third attempt. He weighs 294 pounds in body weight, so this would only put him in third place in the clean and jerk. It would be, though, for a new West German record, and it would also move into third place in the total.
He certainly has been a surprise here in this competition, Bob. Tremendous performer, explosive and dynamic. He's got the bar well racked. He has to struggle through the sticking point.
This could be a personal best for him.
Got the weight jerked over his head. It's a good lift.
And Nerlinger has also lifted 523.5 pounds. 3 men in a row, 523.5 pounds. And his animation tells the story of how he feels about it.
Great pull off the floor, shoulders well over the bar, brushes the thighs high. Notice how he racks the weight, most difficult part. Right here he comes to the sticking point. He has a lot of trouble coming through here with that 523.5 pounds. He has to get set now. This is the most difficult part. Rams the weight up, tremendous jerk, tremendous power off the chest. That's a beautiful lift.
And I'm sure we're going to be hearing a lot more of him in the future, Bruce. And a very happy Krastev from Bulgaria, the overall winner. A big surprise. And the results of the clean and jerk: first, Salzwedel of East Germany; second, Gunyashev; third, Nerlinger; fourth, Krastev. And the overall results: Krastev is first, Gunyashev second, Nerlinger is third, and Taranenko is fourth. This is Bob Beatty for Bruce Wilhelm. That's it from the World Weightlifting Championships in Sweden.